Thank you, Christine, and good morning, everybody. So yeah, my name's Roland Suckling. I'm the Project Director for Mulea Property Development. I've been working with Mulea for 23 years, and my role as Project Director is to manage every facet of the building, of the development, starting from the inception when we started the design process and assembled a world-class team of design consultants. So it's my job to manage those, run through workshops, get the design down on paper quickly, and so we can translate it to the rest of the team. Then into the procurement process, which, as you can imagine, is enormous. How to procure the building, what packages to set up and buy to set up that huge supply chain from around the world. Then to the actual building construction strategy to make that very clear. So again, we can translate that to all the participants of the project. And then close out and complete the building, commission the building, and then hand over to the operations to take care of it.
And now we hand over to Patrick to tell us what you do with the building.
Thank you, Christine. Good morning, everybody. I'm Patrick Honan, General Manager of Mulea Property Development Exchange 106, Property Management. My role here is to have the building up and running and maintaining it and providing all the soft services and the people to run this beautiful building for our tenants and for our stakeholders. Fortunately, I have a great base to work from, and which makes my life much easier.
So in slightly more layman terms, Roland gave us the body of the building, the bones and the meat, and Patrick's going to give it the heart and the soul and make it the hub of all the activity.
So part of that heart and soul is the Mulea experience.
Yes.
As Roland indicated, he's been with Mulea for quite some time. I'm a bit younger.
I'm the baby.
I first joined Mulea in 2001, so I also understand and I bring forward the Mulea culture and the way we do things, which is I've worked with other property developers here in KL, so I understand the difference.
Roland, old man of the of the company, tell us what is so unique about the Mulea Group.
The uniqueness of Mulea is that we are the owner and we take a huge vested interest in the building. We actually live in the project life cycle. So from inception through design, procurement, construction, closeout, handover and operation, we completely manage and take care of all the processes that make up that life cycle. We have a philosophy that no one is going to take care of our money better than us. So we keep everything in our hands and make sure we manage it very tightly and very seamlessly.
And Patrick, like you said, you worked with other property owners. What's the difference? What makes all that difference between Mulea and anyone else?
I think it's fair to say all property developers have a keen sense of how they want their buildings to operate and achieve success. The difference with Mulea is we don't let go. So we, as Roland explained, we are here from the start through the process, and when we come into operations, we don't outsource, we employ. We take a very personable approach with all our occupants and our tenants. We provide solutions on a three-part basis. One is for the stakeholders, their financial solution. Two is the commercial solution for the leasing. And three is the human factor. So we look after the occupants in the building as well. They're just as important as all the other two.
Roland, you've been with the project from the very beginning, from its inception. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What was the vision behind the project?
Well, we came over here in May 2015 and we're very excited to enter the Malaysian market, and we thought Tun Razak Exchange was a fantastic development, quite a vision by the government. What's unique about this development, it will be a super block. There will be everything here. You can live, play and work here. And the fact that there are tunnels within the development that take all the traffic immediately off the streets into the development so that people can get into the buildings and then out of the buildings very efficiently without disrupting the surrounding traffic of the highways around. So we came into the market with the idea of creating two benchmarks. One was to bring to the market an extraordinarily high quality office building. And the second benchmark was to build this building with some interesting processes and at a very fast speed. So from the very design, we kind of designed the building so that we could build it reasonably quickly. We designed the structure with a reinforced concrete core, but with a structural steel frame. So what that enabled to do is a lot of off-site structural steel work, and when the steel comes to site, it can be erected and built very quickly. Another element was a curtain wall. We have 15,000 curtain wall panels, the blue glass on the tower, and even though the building's facades are canted, meaning sloped at 1.35 degrees and curved or segmented, every one of those 15,000 panels, except for the corner panels, are identical, exactly the same. So that creates a huge amount of efficiency in production and manufacture, and again, leads into the seamlessness activities. Also procurement, so we are very strict and controlled on the procurement. As you can imagine, the supply chain for this building going at breakneck speed is enormous. All the materials and goods are coming from around the world and from within Malaysia. It was enormous, so we had to be very attentive to that, plan it very well and control it very well. Also, the way we built the building had to be very clear. So we had to create a very clear roadmap because all the project participants needed to understand and know exactly what their job was on any given day to keep up with the breakneck speed. And then the final one was, we're very aware that people build buildings, so the human condition. So we had to create a strategy where all the participants on this building totally understood the plan, what their role was, how the building was being built, and what they had to deliver exactly on time at any point through the project. So in summary, we tried to create a strategy so this project was super seamless. Everyone knew what they had to do and we could move very quickly, and luckily it all came to plan. And we did do 3-day floor cycles, which was our plan on the outset, to take the tower up on basically a 3-day floor cycle and show the market that it can be done quickly and efficiently.
Thank you, Roland. You see how much they feel for the building. All right. And now, Patrick, that's the vision of having an extraordinary building. Now, what's your role going to be in carrying forward this vision?
From an operations perspective, my role and my team very focused on we maintain the asset. So we have a beautiful finish for quality material to start with. So we know we get longevity and efficiency there. The way the building's designed, it gives us efficiency in how we operate the building as well. So the other key factor is employing the people. We don't outsource, as most companies do here. We employ all our team, and we take ownership of every job function in the building. So we employ our housekeepers to clean the building. We employ our engineers to maintain the asset and look after the building. We employ our auxiliary police to keep the building secure. We employ our car park operators to get people moving through the building. And our leasing and marketing team are all in-house. So we own everything in terms of responsibility. Every job in the building is of equal importance. We just have different levels of responsibility, but we all share that same level of commitment to that responsibility. Whether it's the cleaner or myself, we're both responsible for the same thing. And so we employ attitude and we train skill. Where we need to train skill, we make sure there's attitude that comes with that enables the multitasking, the multi-skilling, and the efficiency of operations. So we create new job scopes. And we'll show some slides and I can explain that as we go through later.
I've only been here for 3 years. But we're so aware of this one-stop shop mentality that we have here in Mulia, right? And everybody's a multitasker, and everybody's the communication process is very, very the culture is very strong. Now, Roland, how do you explain the one-stop shop from a project's perspective?
Yeah, so basically we are the owner and developer, and we take it upon ourselves to manage the building ourselves as well. Because as I said, no one's going to take care of this building better than we would. So we basically removed all the layers of bureaucracy that would normally exist on a project with all levels of management. So we as Mulia were full-time on-site. We set up our offices on-site full-time, 7 days a week, with our local consultants in our office. Then all the contractors were direct contractors, and we parked them around us very close by. So that made the process of submissions and decision-making and approvals almost immediate. So it was a very, very, very fast process for all the contractors to get the information they needed so they could move fast and get things done. So we kind of created that one-stop shop. And it went very well. In doing that, what we ended up doing was creating, basically, to build this building, a vertical assembly line that everyone knew what they were doing, could get answers fast. And we also adopted a policy of open door. So we encouraged the contractors to come and see us any time of the day. Whatever their problem was, we would solve the problem, we would make the decisions, we would give the guidance, so it was an open door policy. So, yeah, the contractors were very surprised at that streamlined sort of position we took as the owner developer, but they were very much appreciative also and enjoyed the process.
Patrick, do you have a one-stop shop?
Sure. Again, when we look at building services and building facilities and the maintenance of that, we want to make sure we respond quickly. So we have an action centre or one-stop shop where all our tenants and people are directed to for any matter. And with our resident managers, we operate what we call flying teams. So while we have core people doing specific roles in the building, there's always a flying team ready to respond. Whether that's a maintenance issue, a cleaning issue, a security issue, an access issue, there's a team ready to go who are on call 24/7 to deal with those matters, so that the tenant knows that the matter is dealt with immediately and it is owned by somebody, and that person then follows that through.
I'd like to highlight at this point that majority of the operations team is hired from the hospitality industry, because we're going to be operating an office building the way a hotel is operated.
A good hotel.
A good hotel, 5-star hotel, 6-star hotel. Okay, for those who are familiar, Mulia Senayan has been top 5 business hotel in amongst all the major polls like the Condé Nast and TripAdvisor and all that for several years, for several decades. And Mulia Bali as well is always top 5 resorts in all these major polls as well. All right, so we are bringing that culture, the Mulia is bringing that culture to Exchange 106. Okay, now let's go to things that are a little bit more slightly technical, but we've got a few little pictures just to show you how all the things that Roland feels very strongly about, that some of the processes that we're very proud of, we're going to be showing you a little bit of that as we ask Roland to tell us what are some of the unique practices during construction.
Okay, so we came to the market, and the first activity after excavation was piling, bore piling. So we went to the market, and the market told us that piling would take 15 months, 12 months, and we said, sorry, that's not acceptable to our schedule. So we found a strategy. We put a number of piling contractors on site, and we actually did the piling in 3.5 months. Then we moved to the mat foundation, and we poured 20,000 cubic metres in the mat foundation. Some of you may remember that from back in end of April 2016. So that was a near world record, and it went very smoothly, 60 hours, starting from Friday night right through to Monday morning. So that was quite successful. Then we had to get the superstructure up out of the ground. So we adopted some very clear strategies, one being all the construction equipment, the tower cranes, the passenger hoists, the placing booms, the concrete pump line would all be inside the building, so we could wrap the building with the glass curtain wall like you have behind you, and everyone would be safe and secure. Then we put some very big, heavy cranes on the job, because when you're lifting structural steel, you need greater capacity than when you do a normal reinforced concrete building. And we also had a strategy where the cranes can only lift heavy loads. We wanted the cranes to lift 5-10 tonnes. Every time a crane collected something and hoisted it into the air, we wanted it to be very heavy. That way we get a lot of efficiency out of the crane. If the crane was wasting time lifting half a tonne, 1 tonne, we would just kill our crane time. We also had the passenger hoist in the building with destination control. So we would send at 6 o'clock, we would send the team up to the very top, the people that work on the top of the building on the core wall. And then we would send the next team up to do the structural steel. So we'd stagger all the workers going up the building. So we got this very efficient movement of people up the building, just like you may be familiar with elevator systems that now have the destination control management system. Then we also encourage the workers to stay up the building. Don't come down at lunchtime and waste all that time. So we'd send food up and we'd cater for the workers. So the workers would stay up the building. and then they would eat up the building, stay up the building, we'd bring the rubbish down, and we created more efficiency. So we always were looking for as many most efficiencies as we could get. And then staggering the project activities, if you look on the left-hand side here, so very clearly, we break the project construction into very simple phases and then run them very fast and make sure they don't touch each other. So we've got this centre diagram was a phasing diagram we did from the very beginning. And we started running, so this diagram here we set up from the very beginning to explain to the project workforce what we were going to do and what their role would be in it. So we were running logistics meetings with the contractors from the very beginning. So it was very important, as we said, the human condition. We needed people that are going to build this building. All our contractors and suppliers are the participants in the building, and we had to make sure they knew exactly what our plan was, how it was going to be built, and what their role was. So basically in this diagram here, the core walls are running up the top here. So we've got a team up there doing the same job every day in and out. So they know what they're doing, and we can get up to a very fast speed. And the next activity was the structural steel here, which you see it in the main photo. And they don't touch each other. If they touch each other and interrupt each other, then the project slows down. So the whole efficiency in building fast is so that these particular activities don't touch each other. So after structural steel, we have metal deck, stud bolt and edge forms, which are running here. You can see this silver colour is all the metal deck. Then we're concreting the slabs down here. The slabs get concreted. Then we fireproof spray the steel. The steel gets pressed. And then a very important activity is we load out the floors. So we created a strategy where we would fill the floor with every piece of material and equipment that was needed on that floor to finish the floor in a very short window of time. And then everybody get off the floor, and the curtain wall, the glass curtain wall, it's not shown on this photo yet, but the glass curtain wall would be installed down here. And then once the glass curtain wall was installed and the whole building was enveloped on that floor, then all the workers come back in and blast the installation of the mechanical, electrical, air conditioning, all the marble finishes and everything you see on the floors. So that worked very efficiently. So that running these packages up the building unhindered and not interrupting with each other created this enormous efficiency. So we were able to create this basically a vertical assembly line. Just once we got rolling, everyone knew what they were doing. The workforce was very clearly sort of defined, and everyone was engaged and ended up being very empowered and motivated. And it was a very happy sort of project team running the building up very quickly.
And we've also used a piece of equipment that I've not seen in any other construction site before.
Okay, so it's not rocket science, but what we did on most buildings, conventional buildings, they'll have landing platforms that are fixed onto the edge of the building, and they're semi-permanent. They sit there on the edge of the building for maybe a week, 2 weeks. Materials are dropped onto those platforms, and materials are moved into the building. So we adopted a different principle here. We created the flying landing platform. So what we did, we as the owner, we engineered them, we PE'd them, professional engineered them and tested them, and we gave them to the contractors based on what their custom needs were. I mean, this one probably looks more like a Velociraptor cage than anything else. So basically we had about 20 of these in the fleet. We gave them to the contractors. They belonged to them, they're in their factory, and the contractors just delivered these platforms at a very specific time as per our schedule. And they were lifted up and loaded onto the building. So this one was probably the biggest one we did. This was our curtain wall contractor. So again, the glass behind you in aluminium is the curtain wall. So this one was 8.5 metres long, so very long, 3.3 metres wide. And each of these packs of curtain wall panels, it's a 1.2 metre by 4 metre, so there's 7 in a pack, so it's 28 panels on that flying landing platform. So it's 8 tonnes of curtain wall on one flying platform. And here we created our own team of logistics teams to tie it down securely, still being held by the tower crane. We have a 2-tonne winch here, and we pull off 8 tonnes of curtain wall panel is put onto the floor in 15 seconds. So that's about 150 square metres of curtain wall. So this contractor actually, his timeline, he had to deliver he had 3 flying landing platforms. And his time slot was 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. every morning. So for the whole project duration, this contractor was delivering his trucks, his 3 trucks. So basically hired the trucks for the whole duration, and 2 a.m., bang, 8 tonnes on, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And other contractors were doing the same. We had the air conditioning contractor doing the same with the ducting, and chill water piping and the fan coil units and air handling units and plumbing contractors. So we had all the contractors doing the same. So the secret was that we fireproof the steel, we load the floor with every piece of equipment and material needed on that floor to make it a finished floor. Everybody get off the floor, the curtain wall contractor installs all the glass around, so the floor is now secure, then the contractors come back in and start their installation. So that strategy, there's a curtain wall panel being installed there. So that, we planned it as the owner, we supported it, and we encouraged all the contractors to also run with that program, and it went very well, went exactly as we planned.
Thank you. That was very illuminating. Okay, so now you know why we could do 3 days of floor. 3 days of floor, yes. And basically, I think this is where the mechanicals and whatnot are. But I think a major part of the project was the human condition, as you spoke of. Can you just elaborate a little bit about the human condition?
Sure. It's one of the catchphrases we used on the project, because, as we said, people build projects. At the end of the day, if you've got the money to run it and the people to run it, then all the other technical problems we can sort out. We're engineers, we're architects, we're artisans, we can solve those problems. But you need to have the people to support the project. At peak, we had 2,500 participants on the building at peak. But you can imagine there's many more than that outside the project that are creating that supply line that from around the world. So it was very important to us to get all the project participants fully engaged. We had to create that strategy where they were close. We explained everything. We made the plans and the schedules and the strategy very clear. We went over and over and over and over it again. We actually ran planning meetings every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m, just so everyone could come to us, but whatever their problems were, what their extra needs were, and whatever. So the whole point was to get all the project participants fully engaged, committed and motivated, and we were quite successful in doing that. And we also had the flying team strategy as well. We built our own team in-house. We had about 30, 40 staff that were plumbers, electricians, riggers, scaffolders, etc. And then they had their own labour team of 100 plus people. So wherever a contractor stumbled or had trouble or ran into some sort of difficulty, we would immediately send the flying team in, solve their problems, help them and get them moving. So we're very against the conventional strategy where you employ a contractor, it's your job, and then you just bash the contractor daily or at meetings. Our strategy was completely support them. We adopted a philosophy that all the contractors were our partners. From the day we awarded the contract to them, they were our partners. If they were successful, we would be successful and the project would be successful. So we really focused and paid a lot of attention to the people that were going to build this job, because of course we can't do it on our own. We're only at the top of the tree, but we needed to fully understand all the way down the hierarchy to the very bottom of the chain, the guys that are out there doing the work, cutting wood or welding steel. So we gave that a lot of attention, and we appreciated that the people on this building are going to build the building, make it a successful project, and consequently make us successful as developers.
Thank you, Roland. Patrick, manpower is a huge part of your role, and it's your biggest asset. How do you manage the human condition on your end?
Thanks. As Roland mentioned, it's the people that make the difference. The technicalities are all sorted through. Our people are critical to us. At the moment, we have a team of about 157 people, if I recall. We're forecasting, as our occupancy picks up, we'll have a team in-house managing the building of about 355 people. So it's 355 jobs we've created here in KL to operate this building that would otherwise be outsourced to other agencies. So in that process, that human side of that is we create opportunities. So we employ people in certain technicalities, certain engineering backgrounds, certain security backgrounds, because we need to protect the asset of the building as well from those two. Then we employ the attitude where we can take a person and develop them. We multi-skill them. And we've seen this happening already with some of our housekeeping team who have taken on fantastic new roles that they didn't envision before. Some of our engineers who probably worked in their specialty now getting involved in other aspects of a building operation so they get a better understanding. It grows their skill set. It grows their opportunities. We hope that many of them will continue working with us for many years to come. But of course, as an employer, you want people to develop as well. So if we can make people richer and stronger in their skill set and enjoy their work, the prouder we are of that as well. So it really comes down from, we have our team on doing the window cleaning, and they've taken on all new tasks and new skill sets in that process as well. Just as an example.
I think as a Mulia culture, there is a feeling of ownership of the building. We're not just here for a job. We all have joint ownership of the building. So later, for example, we've got some posters over on the West Wing. If you've got time later on just to have a look at the posters. The posters actually give you a history of the site from pre-TRX all the way to what we are now. And we've actually gone through all these pictures with our individual teams, like the housekeeping team. They want to know where we came from. And we do that so that everybody has a sense of history, a sense of belonging as well. So I think that's part of that human condition that we talk about. Okay, now let's move on to going forward. Where are we at and where are we going? And we mentioned occupancy, and how are we doing in that field?
I think it's important when we talk about occupancy to understand the sheer size of this building. 2.6 million plus square foot of lettable space, probably equivalent to about 5 standard office buildings here in KL. So when we talk about 20% occupancy, that's equivalent to a 35-storey building being fully occupied. We are at 20% occupancy. We are targeting now, working towards coming in 2020, and we'll finish the year at 50% occupancy. So our tenants, in the commercial sector, when you're taking up lease space, decisions are not made overnight. There's a long lead process, a long planning process, because you're talking about people's corporate solutions, you're talking about our tenants also dealing with their human factor, their people, making sure the right place. So we get the efficiency for them, we get the planning, and we make sure the space works for them. So we are on target for completing the bottom half of the building with occupancy by the end of next year, which will keep us extremely busy. We finished one construction site. Now with our tenants coming in, we start another construction site as our tenants do their fit out. And with our fit out team and our engineering team, we guide them through that process as well.
Okay. Just to preempt, we know you have questions later. Just to preempt, we will not be at liberty to share the names of the tenants officially, basically because tenants, we are subject to confidentiality, and at the same time, they have their own processes and they do want to make their own announcements as well. So we can give you a description of what they are, but we can't actually release their names to you, just to keep you informed on that. Okay. Okay, just to tie up the session, just in your own words, both of you, what do you believe, if you have to summarize the success of your team and the project, how would you describe your team and project?
I guess just to summarise from what I've been talking about, the owner planned and controlled the development to create a seamless design, procurement and construction phase, so it was seamless throughout that. To create a strategy where we could build very quickly and the strategy was clear and we could translate that to all the project participants. A very efficient management system, so decision making was fast and the contractors and suppliers and all the vendors could get immediate answers and direction so they could move very quickly with their product whether it was supply, manufacture, or installation. The success of creating a well-informed, engaged, and motivated team of project participants, and just, to end up with a happy and motivated workforce that could run this building up very quickly was very, very successful and very pleasing for us all.
Patrick, just one extra question. Moving forward, what are we offering the people who are looking to be tenants, our tenants?
I think from a commercial perspective, we talk to our tenants and our clients and future clients about how we can deliver efficiency of space for them. When we show you around downstairs, and as you can see part of it here, our building's all about space and efficiency. All our Mulia buildings in Jakarta are the same concept, where we give clear space for people to work. It's not only the efficiency of their space, it's the solutions that we provide. So it's our soft services that we can provide to the tenant. It's the relationship we have with the tenants. So as I mentioned before, we have a solution from the corporate perspective of space and their cost efficiency. We have a solution for all their occupants, for all the workers in the tenant company, to have a relationship with our staff. We want our staff to know the tenants by name. It will be a challenge when this building's fully occupied. About 16,000 people will be working in this building. Our job is to know as many of them as possible, to know what they need, to preempt their needs, to understand their unspoken needs as well. And that's the big difference, that where we come in as a Mulia property is anticipating that and delivering on that level of service. That usually what sets us apart. So, we have our team that we're building here, and as I said before, they don't just do the one thing. Our auxiliary police are here for our security, very well trained, very polished, but they also keep an eye on the maintenance and the cleaning and activities. Our lobby reception are there to greet people and have the personal face of the building. Our cleaners, our housekeeping team, I have to admire their ability to get anything done. Nothing's ever a challenge. It's just a solution that needs to be provided. I'm losing track. Yeah, and we have, as I said before, one of the greatest challenges that we did have was finding people to clean the external part of the building, to clean the glass. We've had most of the facade cleaning in KL is outsourced to foreign workers. We wanted to maintain control, so our cleaning is on a continual cycle. We don't stop-start. So this building will be cleaned on a 43-day cycle, where we continue around with our equipment and maintain a pristine building. The crew have been trained up. We've added to their skill sets. We've had them sent to abseiling courses, so they now have world-class abseiling certification. Because some parts of the building, they are outside, some parts they have to abseil. And the thing is, they're loving it. Hands up, I'm not crawling outside the building, but we've widened their skill set and broadened their horizons, as just one example.
Okay, thank you so much for your insights. And we would like to I think we can take questions soon. And I'll hand you over back to Vanita.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from the experts, you've heard from the custodians, what it took and where we are today with 106, with Exchange 106. And I'm sure you all are just taking in it and you're in total awe at the moment. Maybe take questions from the floor. Anyone wants to start? I think Sarah, okay. Yes, Joseph, go ahead.
Hi, Joseph from Reuters. Just a question for Patrick. You mentioned total lettable space is 2.6 million square feet, right? So just looking at the numbers from the press release here, so by December you're expecting a bunch of tenants to come in the lower floors, and by and 2020, half of the space should be taken up. So could we know how many tenants exactly in December, and how many are taking up the 1.3 million? Thanks.
We have several tenants taking multiple floors. So one of the great advantages with the building of the floor plate that we have is the large floor plates. So we attract larger tenancies. So, you know, when they come in at 50, 60,000, 100,000 square foot, that's how we just get this incremental jump. So the physical number, whether it's 1, 5 or 25 tenants, I can't recall at this point. But we have at least 7 to 10 plans that we're working through at the moment to make sure that that's all up and running. And we guide our tenants through that. That's including our retail and F&B as well.
Just because I know a little bit about this, we do have the fact that the reason that Patrick doesn't remember the number is we deal with tenants even at prospecting stage.
Very fluid.
Yeah, so we're not just at prospecting stage. We're not just, this is just the leasing team. So at this point, everybody comes in already. So to them, everybody's coming in, and they haven't quite figured out when is that. So, but officially, we have 3 at least major tenants coming in first and second quarter, and that would take up I think about 8 to 10 floors. Yeah, 8 to 10 floors. Yeah, at the lower zone. And the retail, yeah. At retail, we will have we will start with only about 5, and then we'll grow them to about 15 to 20 tenants. Basically, we're not a mall, so we're just bringing the tenants in to support the occupancy.
Do you have any other questions?
Thank you. Annabelle from Malaysia Kini. Just want to clarify a few things. When you say 2.6 million square feet, do you mean the mall, the exchange as well, or just the office building? That's my first question. My second question is for Roland. The building process was pretty impressive. Were workers working around the clock? What was that? What was happening? Just driving around KL, lights were always on, so that was something I would like to know. And when you mean participants of the building, of the project, you do mean workers, like construction workers, or do you mean engineers and everyone as well? Just want to know the term. Thank you.
So firstly, on the 2.6 million square foot, yes, it's commercial and our service retail. Don't confuse our retail with the Exchange TRX Mall. That's a separate entity. So our retail is focused on service retail for our occupants. Somewhere to eat, somewhere to pick up their laundry, somewhere to see their doctor or dentist, etc. And get their hair done. And, so yes, it covers both.
On this project, we were lucky enough to get permission to work 22 hours a day. So we were working double shifts. We had our Chinese contractor who was doing the steel, so they were working on a double shift, so one shift during the daytime and another in the nighttime. We would often concrete slabs in the evening, which was always beneficial on projects because you can concrete them sort of late at night, and by the morning they're cured and you can walk on them and do things. So yeah, we had a bigger workforce in the daytime, but yes, we worked a night shift, so that did happen, but obviously maybe a half the workforce worked at the nighttime. And this loading strategy was very prevalent for the early hours of the morning. So we actually loaded, the Chinese contractor doing the steel chose to take lunch and a rest from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we captured that window, and we had 3 tower cranes on the tower, if you remember. So we took 2 of those cranes and we loaded the building with materials using our flying loading platforms from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that was 3 hours times 2, 6 hours. And then every morning from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m., the 2 cranes also load materials. So there was a big loading period there. So that was 5 hours times 2, times 16 times. So in the 3-day cycle, as we're going up the building, there was a 48-hour window that we had to get every piece of material and equipment onto one floor that would later finish that floor. So yeah, we took advantage of the time. So we took advantage of working till 2 a.m. with the workforce doing construction. Then we took advantage of the 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. to load the building out. So that gave us great efficiency, because then in the daytime, that loading had already been done. We didn't have to dedicate cranes, and because you can imagine this is a very tall building, so to lift a load from the floor, from the ground level, up to the top and back again, takes a lot of time. You know, the typical hoisting rate, if it's 90 metres per minute, but we can't run at full speed the whole time. So if you actually watch a crane on a super tall building lifting materials, it takes quite a bit of time, sometimes 20 minutes, half an hour to get up. Then you want to have a real efficiency, get the material off the loading platform and then down again. So most of the time is actually hoisting up and hoisting down. So our strategy with the flying loading platform and just whisking the materials off onto the floor within seconds was incredibly efficient. And participants, yeah, we mean everybody, not just the workers. The hierarchy of the worker to the supervisor, to the engineer, to the site manager, that was one team. Then there's also our consultants, which are engineers, mechanical and electrical engineers and structural engineers. Our team, we have a team, we're engineers and architects, and we have our Malaysian staff on the job, and we have Indonesian. We also brought our Indonesian staff. So when I talk about project participants, we refer to everybody. Everybody on site and also everybody off-site, because we had glass coming in from St. Gobain, which is a partnership with our Mulia glass factory from Chennai, India. We had marble coming in from Italy and Turkey and China, and we had glass coming from China. So we had an enormous supply chain, and those characters, those participants also needed to understand the strategy, the plan, and get on board and become part of it. So it was very important to us to continually engage everybody and make them feel part of the team. We wanted everyone to be motivated and empowered so that this thing could be pushed up. Because, of course, we couldn't do it all by ourselves. We needed to create a team of thousands that supported this project, were similarly as motivated, engaged, understood, and got excited about it and helped us get this building up at breakneck speed.
Patrick said something about 20% of this 2.6 million square feet. That's about 520,000 that's tenanted. Is that right? And they are all 8 to 10 floor? The bottom 8 to 10?
Now the building, basically, we look at two halves of the building. So from this level down and then this level up. So we are focusing on our occupancy, moving into the low and then the mid zone. And then later on, we will focus on the super high sky zone. So everyone coming in is coming from level 6 up to level 37.
So when you said this 520,000 square feet that's already been tenanted, are they offices or are they F&Bs?
Primarily office. F&B at this stage, as Christine said, is a small component that will service those office occupants.
Okay. And the other thing is about the rental. We have an issue with building office glut right now. So do you want to say anything about how this fits into the whole scenario?
I think in any market, you work within the market space. So there is a good, strong supply of space in the market, and we respond and work with our clients and our tenants within what that leverage gives the clients to work with. So I think we remain as competitive as every other building in KL.
Just a question on the, I don't know if maybe I should ask Roland. CCC was granted for the lower half, so do you have expectation when you're going to get for the upper half?
Yeah, the upper half's finished. It's ready to be CCC'd, and we met Bomba last week and agreed to move very quickly on it. One of the constraints there was the CBD loop being constructed by the master developer. That's almost finished. So we plan to get CCC within a week or two. Bomba in agreement to that. As they're fully satisfied, the building is complete all the way to the top. All the systems are in place. Everything's complete. So at the moment, the CCC is based on a fire strategy where Bomba enter the building on the service road, which is where you would have driven in this morning. So we will get full CC on that same strategy, and then as soon as the CBD loop, which is an elevated carriageway 14 metres above ground, is ready, which is only a month or so away, then we switch over to that strategy. At the moment, we have partial CCC, which is up to this level.
Hello. Hi. Just now, a mention of 3 major tenants. What are the nature of their business, if possible, and are they like local or MNCs or foreign companies? And what are some of the environmental friendly features of your building?
First part of the question, the tenants are multinationals primarily, who require large floor plates, and multinational consultancies, service providers. I didn't catch the second part of your question, sorry.
Do you have maybe on sustainability or environmental friendly features of your building? Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Sure. The building is rated GBI Gold, which is a requirement that it puts in certain efficiencies and sustainability into the design of our building, our aircon systems, our water treatment systems, our use of recycled water. We don't use, we use a fan coil units on every floor, so it gives more efficient control to the tenants for their cooling, and more focused. Our lighting is all LED lighting throughout, so we deliver a high level of lux to every floor, luminous, so that at a more efficient cost. And in the construction, we also use more sustainable product.
Hi, Alex from Soy Chin Chow. Can you share with us the connectivity features of the building, particularly internet connectivity for the tenants, as well as in-building coverage for mobile networks?
Sure.
Thank you.
Connectivity takes many different things, I suppose. Firstly is on the connectivity in terms of the master plan development. This is one of probably the only truly integrated developments in KL, where you have full access and integration development, connection between buildings. In terms of mobile coverage and IP coverage, we are fully fibred through the building. We're running up 2 risers, so the tenants have full IP redundancy should they choose to need that. And we're full in-build coverage, IBC through the building already. So that's if you're using your phones, you're not struggling to get a signal. And the purpose of that is we understand in the marketplace it's a bit of horse and cart. The occupants of the building first or the mobile coverage first. So we wanted to make sure our tenants and our occupants and our visitors have efficient use of the building from day one. So we've put in the backbone, we put in the structure for ABC. The players are already on board in terms of the market, so we're all ready to go from that aspect.
Hi, Annabelle again. I'm interested to know, I mean, you've mentioned that Mulia owns the building, it runs the building, it employs people directly. Doesn't the Finance Ministry own 51% of Mulia? I just want to clarify that. Is that still happening, kind of ownership structures? And also the cost of the construction. I mean, it was really fast, but I'd like to know kind of how much did it cost Mulia to build this building? Thank you.
You handle the cost first? No. Yeah, cost first.
We normally don't divulge the cost, but we can. It's catch-22. We spend money on our management style. As we explained, we have our people, our flying team, and the flying platforms that we just engineered and gave to the contractors. So we deliberately spend certain money to run the job very efficiently, very fast, very economical, and to get the building up and operational, tenants in and money rolling in. But at the same time, our procurement strategy is very aggressive. So we go to the world market and we buy everything direct. We buy the chillers for the air conditioning, we buy the cooling tower plant, we buy the fan coil units, all directly from different vendors, the air handling units, heat exchangers, all the chilled water pumps. And then we get a contractor to supply the piping, the valves and all the accessories and put it together. So we cut out a lot of the middleman in our procurement strategy. And that can be quite a significant cost. So we do that with all our packages, even like the curtain wall, we buy the glass direct, and then the curtain wall contractor will install the glass into the aluminium frame. Same with the plumbing, we buy the pumps and all of the big equipment direct. Any big ticket item like a suspended ceiling, the acoustic ceiling, we buy that direct from supplier and then a contractor installs it. So we make significant savings in our procurement strategy by removing layers of bureaucratic purchasing. Equally the same, we then spend some money in the way we manage. I mean, some of the contractors we've had on this job have made comments like this is a once-in-a-lifetime project. To be looked after so well and supported and encouraged and helped to get this job fast and done fast and quickly, and their contract run quickly, they were very appreciative and got on board to that strategy. So, you know, one side we spend the money, another side we save a lot of money. So we don't divulge sort of the costs, but you can imagine we're within the sort of expected market per square metre cost for a super tall building.
Okay, and yes, we are still 51% owned by MOF. As our finance minister has explained before, it is part of the injection of funds, and once we paid up, then it's completely ours again. Yeah, and we don't have a time frame for that yet, so that's for a later date, right? So just today is really about getting a feel for the building, so we can do that later. Yes, of course, yes. There is, but I'm not privy to that.
Sorry, just to go back to the cost. The cost of the building is stated on the development order with the DBKL, so it is publicised, actually.
Hi. So one thing that's been hanging on this project has been the linkage to 1MDB now that it's completed. Has it been a difficult task to kind of like convince people that it's not really a problematic building, it's a good place to take up?
I think we have to thank the Minister of Finance, because he has put his back to the whole project, the whole TRX totally. He's been very supportive. We've not had a big function, so we've not had him on board with us yet, but he certainly has supported TRX, the TRX City, the master developer, and this, not Prudential, the land lease as well. So, and he's actually said there's detoxified, so, so we're all just looking forward now. No, not at all actually, because we've been very pleasantly surprised that they come and they understand straight away that the building speaks for itself. And just for your just a little bit of information on the side, a lot of these MNCs have got anti-bribery clauses, anti-corruption clauses in the tenancy agreement, and they're quite happy to just, you know, we're quite happy to sign out that. So that's not really, that's what gives them the comfort. I think I'm not so familiar with that, but I think I think if you ask any of the legal beagles, they will tell you that a lot of the EU companies, the American companies, they've got anti-corruption clauses in their normal tenancy agreements, in any agreements actually.
Hi, I'm Yimi from Nikkei Markets. Yeah, just now, Patrick, you mentioned that by end of 2020, you would expect the occupancy rate to reach 50%. So is there any target for the building itself to be fully occupied? And with another building not too far, there will be 118 floors available by next year or so. What would you foresee more challenges in getting the occupancy rate upward?
I think one thing to understand when a company like Mulia takes on a new development, we take the time to understand the market and we build a solution that we see that fits the needs of our clients and our tenants. We will see the occupancy increase. We'll see dramatic moves again in occupancy once the full TRX development is complete. At the moment, yes, we're an island on a sea of construction, and it's so people are starting to see now how the access roads are working, and you can see structures happening outside, so people get understanding. With other developments surrounding us, connecting to us, the mall coming online in third quarter 2021. Our tenants are moving in on the basis that they're looking at completions of development. We already have tenants lined up who will come once everything is ready. We have those who are coming on the basis that the whole site, the whole master plan is under development. In terms of how other buildings impact us, there's always competition in the marketplace. We focus on what we do and what we do well. PMB 118 is another super tall building. It's another asset to KL. We focus on the fact that we're super proud to be building and operating, to have built and operate Malaysia's newest icon, and employing all our team to operate that in-house. And that's our focus moving forward. What other people do in the market, you know, we're happy to share KL space with them.
Is it possible for you to share when is the next building that will be completed on TRX itself?
Sure, when we go for a walk, we can explain the master plan development and what's happening around. At the moment, we have HSBC are building their regional headquarters, Finbank are building their regional headquarters, yes. Lend-Lease is building the TRX Exchange Mall. We have condominium developments coming up by different developers also on the complex. So there's a lot happening that will come online in 2020, 2021.
Okay, we'll take one last question.
Thank you. In the past few years, where when the exchange has been coming up, we've seen also the 1MDB scandal kind of blow up everywhere. Was that at any point a concern for Mulia and the construction? I mean, I know you guys want to do it really efficiently. Was that at any point a concern? In terms of funding, in terms of cash flow. I just wanted to know from your perspective, Roland, I guess. Thanks.
Not really. We that unfortunate thing that happened with 1MDB in the history, we sort of sat below that radar. It didn't really affect us so much. There were times when cash flow was a bit tight and the money wasn't rolling and we had to finance things ourselves. But I think the biggest disruption was when you actually had the change of government, which was quite a surprise, I think, to everyone, and did cause a lot of disruption to all parts of your economy and industry. So that was a big that was a bit bumpy for us because everything changed. The members of Parliament and the government departments, everyone changed. New people came in, they didn't understand lots of what was going on and they needed time to get up to speed and effectively, and that has happened now. That process has been through and the new government have taken on board their roles and what needs to be done and things are moving again. We just worked, for an example, with Bomba and DBKL and all those government departments, we quite efficiently ran through all those processes and inspections and submissions and testing on the building. That ran pretty smoothly, and most of those were sort of new team players in the government. And we achieved our CCC. We have partial CCC, and full CCC is immediately imminent because everything is done. Even most of the paperwork and submissions are done, so we expect that to happen. So. Looking back on this journey, this 5-year journey that we've had, it's had its ups and downs, but luckily the project team was solid. As we talked about, the participants are all very important to us. We keep emphasising that because it's the people that build the buildings, and they're very important to us. So luckily we built that camaraderie, we built the sort of moral kinship sort of thing, and everyone was very motivated. People were in their offices in and out all day, decisions were being made, problems were being solved, and everyone was energised, and the momentum of the building just got going and it couldn't be stopped. And so we were lucky there, and we got to the top and more or less finished it.
We have one last question.
I would like to know about the rental cost. Is it differs according to floors, or how do we do with it?
Basically, I think in leasing, as in leasing of commercial buildings, depend on a lot of factors. There will always be a baseline number that you don't go past, but otherwise it will depend on size. You can't treat the tenant who comes in for 2,000 square feet the same as you treat the guy who comes in for 200,000 square feet. So it is really, we are at market rate above market rate, I would like to say, for any particular like-for-like comparison.
Ladies and gentlemen, this will end the Q&A sessions, and if you have any more questions, you can take it on with me and my fellow colleagues who are around to take your questions thereafter.